So welcome all. So now we are going to discuss on the various kinds of yoga form which we just mentioned in our previous lecture set. So to start with, there are more than lakhs and above yogas which are formed. Yogas are nothing but the combination of planets or the permutation combination of placements of planets in the houses and their effects upon a native. Now, for example, when Sun and Mercury are together, it's called the Buddha Aditya Yoga, which is quite common in many of the horoscopes. Similarly, Jupiter and Moon together causes the Gajakesari Yoga, so which can also be seen in many of the horoscopes. So let's start from the beginning. So the first of the yogas is Ashraya Rajju Yoga. I'll repeat the names two times. It's called Ashraya Rajju Yoga. Now this yoga is for planets occupy Chara Rashi, movable or cardinal sign. Now to understand this, let's try to understand the Chara Sthira and Dvisvabhava Rashi. Now Chara Rashi is a movable sign. Movable sign. Now where is the importance of these classification of the signs useful? When we are trying to find whether a person would travel abroad or would he have his occupation right in his country, there the movable cardinal or dual sign plays a vital role. If, for example, the 10th lord is placed in a movable sign, and if other combinations are present for the person to be out of his country for any reason, it could be, then he has a strong possibility to travel abroad or to be separated from his family and go and reside in some other place. So such combinations are possible. Now there these chararashis play a vital role. Fixed signs are like, say, suppose if we want to find the death of a person, where it would take place. If the 8th lord is placed in a fixed sign, then probably the death would happen in his home itself. If it is Dvisvabhava or dual sign, it would happen in a nearby place from his home, from the place where he is presently situated. So all these predictions can be done with the help of understanding of the Chara, Sthira and Dvisvabhava Rashis. So one born in this yoga, that is if all the planets occupy movable signs. Now we have to understand which are the movable signs. Now Aries is a movable sign, Cancer is a movable sign, Libra is a movable sign, and Capricorn is a movable sign. If all the planets are placed in these four signs, then this yoga, the Ashraya Rajju Yoga, is formed. And the result of this yoga is the person born is fond of travel, good looks, he is highly ambitious, but he is cruel and he travels to frequent alien lands in pursuit of wealth. So this is the result of this Ashraya Rajju Yoga. So let's go to the next yoga, which is Rajju Yoga. Now Rajju Yoga is formed when Lagna is in a Chara Rashi and several planets are also in Chara Rashi. Then the effects of Rajju Yoga can be felt. So which means, for example, if your ascendant is in, say, Capricorn, and many of the planets are placed in Aries, Cancer, and say Libra, then Rajju Yoga is formed. Now, The result of this yoga is the person tends to become highly ambitious, moves from place to place in search of travel, name, fame, fortune. There is a liking of travel, ability to take quick decision, and greater adaptability. He is intellectually mobile and has an open mind. However, this is an indication on an ever-changing nature. So, indecisiveness is seen. A fickle-minded person, untrustworthy, and inability to persist with one particular thing can be seen in such a person. The person undergoes continuous struggle and generally does not take many fixed assets. So, this is the result of the Raju Yoga. So, the next yoga is Ashraya Musala Yoga. Now, Ashraya Musala Yoga is formed when all the planets occupy Sthira sign. Sthira means fixed signs. Now, fixed signs are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. Now, these four signs are fixed signs. So, when all the planets occupy fixed signs, then one born in this yoga is proud, learned, wealthy, liked by the rulers, of stable nature, and blessed with several sons. So, the next is Musala Yoga alone. Here, the Lagna is in Sthira sign, and several other planets are also in Sthira sign. So, which means, for example, if the Lagna is in Scorpio and many planets are placed in, say, Aquarius, in Taurus, and in, let's say, Leo, then one born in this yoga is proud, learned, wealthy, liked by ruler, famous, of stable nature, and blessed with several sons. He or she is trustworthy, has stability and durability. This means, however, the person might be obstinate, unable to take quick decisions, and might have difficulty in adapting a change. So the next of the yoga is the Ashraya Nala Yoga. Now here, if all the planets are in Dvisvabhava signs, or dual or mixed signs, which are Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. Now one born in such a yoga is defective of a limb, resolute, very clever, of fluctuating wealth, good to the near and dear ones. Now, there are other yogas like Nala Yoga. Logic is the same. If Lagna is in Vishwabhava sign and several planets are occupied in the dual sign, then such a yoga is formed. The result of this yoga is one born in the yoga is defective of a limb, is resolute, very clever, of fluctuating wealth, and is dear to the near ones, and there is a tendency to lose a lot of opportunities, leading to disappointments and dejection unless other indications strongly display. So the next of the yoga is Kalamala or Sarka Yoga. Now all benefits placed in three kendras and no malefic in kendra, which means let's understand what are kendras and the trikonas and the upachaya houses to understand this yoga. Now in astrology there are certain houses which are meant to be auspicious. The first, fourth, seventh, and 10th house in astrology is called the Vishnu Sthana, or to put it technically, it's called the the houses of qualities, and the first, fifth, and ninth are called the houses of abilities. And a Raja Yoga is formed when the houses of qualities and abilities there is a connection between them. Now, Kendras are the first, fifth, and ninth houses of the horoscope. If benefics are placed in Kendras and there are no malefics in Kendras, then such a yoga is formed. Now, the result of this yoga is the person will be blessed with constant enjoyment, vehicles, good food and clothes, and association of the opposite uh, sex and attractive people. So, sorry for the disturbance in between. So, we were discussing about the Dalamala or the Sarka Yoga. Now, there are houses called the Upachaya houses, which are the third, sixth, 11th houses. Now, Upachaya houses are the houses of stress and where a lot of effort has to be put in by the person in his lifetime. Dalasarpa yoga is the next yoga. Now, if all malefics are placed in the kendras and there is no benefit in a kendra, which means, say, suppose planets which are malefic, as we know, are Sun, Mars, Saturn, Rahu, and Ketu. And if they are placed in the kendras, which is namely the first, fourth, seventh, and tenth, and if there are no benefits in the kendra, then such a yoga is formed, and the person might be a wicked person, miserable and dependent upon others for subsistence. So the next yoga is called the Akirti Ghada Yoga. Now, all planets confined to two adjacent kendras and the first and the fourth house, which is, say, suppose all the planets are placed in the first house and the fourth house, then which happen to be kendra, then this yoga is formed, and the person is wealthy, learned. He is well versed in the Vedic scriptures, sacred scriptures. He is fearful, envious of others, and engaged in earning money. So the next yoga is Akirti Shanka Yoga. Now, all planets, if they are confined to two adjacent kendras, which are namely the fourth and the seventh house, then this yoga is formed. The person will be wealthy, learned, versed in sacred scriptures. He is fearsome, envious of others, and ever engaged in earning money. So the next yoga is the Akirti Vibhuka Yoga. All planets, if they are confined to two adjacent kendras, namely the 10th and the 7th house, then the person is said to be wealthy, learned, versed in Vedic scriptures, envious of others, and ever interested in earning money. So the next is Akirti Dvavaja Yoga, where all planets confined to two adjacent kendras, the first and the 10th house. So the person will be wealthy, versed in Vedic scriptures, fearsome, and so on. So the same results apply even here. The next yoga is the Akirti Shakata Yoga. All the planets located in Lagna and the 7th house, such a yoga is formed. The person might suffer from poverty, ill health, lean body, discard with a wicked wife, and earning through hard labor. Now, Akirti Pakshi Yoga, which is all planets confined to the 4th to 10th house. The person might be a wanderer, he might be a servile, quarrelsome, a message bearer, or an ambassador. Now, Akirti Vajra Yoga, the benefics in houses 1st to 7, malefics in houses 4th to 10. Then this yoga is formed. Benefics are planets like Jupiter, Moon, and Venus, and to some extent Mercury. The person would be good looking, brave, but he could be wickedly disposed and happy during early life and old age. Now, Akirti Yava Yoga is a yoga formed when malefics are placed in the 1st to 7th house and benefics in the 4th to 10th house. So the person is given to restrain and auspicious pursuits. Such a person is consistent in the middle portion of his lifetime. So the next yoga is the Akirti Kamala Yoga, which is formed when planets are occupying four kendras. A person is beautiful to look at, wide renown, long life, virtuous qualities, and royal status. The next yoga is the Akirti Vapi Yoga. All planets falling in houses other than the four kendras, which are first, fourth, seventh, and tenth, then such a yoga is formed. The person is ever engaged in accumulating wealth, has small but lasting comforts, long life, sweet tongue, and tends to hoard his wealth and possessions. Now, Akirti Vapi or Panapara Yoga is formed when all the planets falling in houses other than four kendras, emphasizing the Panapara houses. The person is ever engaged in accumulating wealth, has a small but lasting comforts, long life, sweet tongue, and tends to hoard his wealth and possessions without using it properly. Now, Akirti Vapi Yoga, all planets falling in houses other than four kendras. The person is ever engaged in accumulating wealth, and the same results as we discussed before is seen. The next of the yogas is the Akirti Hala Yoga, the planets located in terrenal houses other than Trikona. This variation is Artha houses, which is 2, 6th, and 10th. The person is servile, blessed with witty friends, liked by people, living by agriculture and tormented by poverty. So there are other kinds of Akirti Hala Yoga where the planets located in trinal houses other than the Trikona. The variation is Moksha, the 4th, 8th, and the 12th. So the results are the same. The next yoga being the Akirti Yupa Yoga, all planets in and or between the first and the fourth house. The person is contented, very learned, wealthy, valorous, engaged in sacrificial rituals, blessed with home comforts, and pursues his worldly duties. So, Akirti Kshara Ikshu Yoga, all planets in and or between 4th and 7th house. The person is a manufacturer of arrows, is cruel and wicked, a hunter, a jailer, fond of animal food and of roaming in jungles. So, Akirti Shakti Yoga is also there when all the planets are in between 7th to 10th houses. Akirti Danda Yoga, all planets in and or between house. In such a case, the person is indigent, servile, rejected, bereft of comforts, devoid of near and dear ones, and cruel hearted. Akirti Nauka Nava Yoga, planets continuously occupying houses first to seven. The person becomes famous, miserly, greedy, ambitious, of fickle nature, earning through water related pursuits. The Akirti Puta Yoga, the planets continuously occupying houses 4th to 10th. The person becomes untruthful, a jailer, cruel, resident of forts or hills or forests, a wrestler, ignorant of what is right and what is wrong, indulging in puta or deception.